We have multiple huge Toronto Blue Jays updates to go over today, and following yet another fantastic win last night against the Minnesota Twins, we have some big Jays updates to go over today as reinforcements are on the way. They're going to fill some of the holes the Jays currently desperately have and need filled. We also have some interesting stats to go over surrounding the Toronto Blue Jays that are very intriguing, and some more other updates to go over today, including an interesting minor league prospect continuing to shine. So a ton to go over, but before we get into it, folks, if you're part of the percentage who aren't subscribed to the channel, make sure to hit the subscribe button. Hit that subscribe button today, and it means the world to myself over here on the channel as I continue to produce daily content for you all about the Blue Jays. Now, ladies and gentlemen, the Jays are coming off a huge win. They are just on an absolute roll right now. They're in a playoff spot. They're in a three-way tie for the wild card spot 1, 2, and 3. It is a fantastic time to be a Jays fan, and for the first time since 2021, arguably, every time the Jays go down early in the game, they went down 3-0 against the Twins yesterday, you feel like they can get a win, and that is the case and has been the case over the past few weeks, being the second-ranked offense in baseball over the past month or so. But we have some big updates to go over today. Now, there's a clear hole in this team, and it is a starting pitcher. They need another starting pitcher. They tried to go with Paxton Schultz yesterday. It didn't really work. And we have some updates. Let's start with Spencer Turnbull. So he got stretched out yesterday with his biggest start since being signed by the Blue Jays. He went 80 pitches in his longest outing of 2025, 4 2/3 innings, 7 hits, 5 runs, 2 walks, 3 Ks. Turnbull's velo continues to be down across the board, but this was the final start he can make under his 35-day window. So we'll see what happens. So folks, this is a very interesting one because obviously the Toronto Blue Jays, once they sign him, you have a 30-day or 35-day window to get him ramped up before he plays for a big league team. They've already DFA'd Jose Urena, so he's off the board. He's with the Dodgers now. They need to make a decision on Spencer Turnbull. Now, I think they're probably going to call him up, and I would assume he's going to make the next start on Wednesday or whenever the next starting spot comes around. I believe it's Wednesday, instead of Paxton Schultz or whoever they go with. But his velo's down. He maxed out at 92.2 miles an hour, and his minimum was 87.1. So, I mean, his average velo is under 90 miles per hour. Will that play at the major league level? I don't know. Maybe he'll have some extra adrenaline boost at the major league level that we'll want to see. But at the end of the day, he has not been necessarily, it's not the easiest rehab stint he's been on. The Jays would have liked to see him dominate in the minor leagues and then come up so you have full confidence with the major league team. But realistically, Ross Atkins needs to go out and make a trade soon for a pitcher. And we're going to have videos covering that. But at the end of the day, he needs to make a move. He needs to make one soon for a starting pitcher, because if they don't, it's going to be interesting. But for Spencer Turnbull, I assume he's going to be coming up very soon. They have to make a decision on him, and I think it makes the most sense to give him a chance at the major league level. I mean, we've seen on the flip side from Eric Lauer, maybe they just let him continue to run out and start some games, because I believe the next start will line up against the Cardinals. I believe, correct me if I'm wrong down below. I believe, it's the Cardinals, and they have a bunch of lefty hitters. So I think maybe you can get away with it, but you need Turnbull up because his 35-day window has ended. So it's going to be very interesting to see what they do with Turnbull. But again, I mean, not the best outing. Gave up 5 runs in 4 innings, but they don't really have a choice now. He's built up. You hope that his success last year will translate, his success with the Phillies, and you go from there. But let me know down below what your thoughts are on Spencer Turnbull. Do you have faith? Do you think he's going to be a bad, pitcher for the team? Because the peripherals don't look great, but you got to hope sometimes. And 80 pitches, he's built up, and maybe they'll think he'll be better than some of the pitchers who are pitching for the Jays now. Even though Eric Lauer has been absolutely fantastic across the board, you can see here. Eric Lauer did again, 14 2/3 innings, 2 hits, no runs since returning to the pen. He's tossed 9 2/3 scoreless innings. Maybe they keep him as the long relief guy, and they don't want to mess that up. Either way, folks, they need a starting pitcher, the Toronto Blue Jays, that is. They need one desperately, and if they don't get one soon, I think they're going to try to make a trade here before the deadline. Keegan was on our show and talked about it. He was on my show and talked about it. I mean, how they need a pitcher, José Berríos type deal, which makes even more sense now, seeing how good he has been. How bad, the starting pitching staff, the 5th spot has been, but of course, how good the José Berríos trade ended up working out for both sides, but especially the Toronto Blue Jays there. So let me know down below your thoughts are on that. We also have some other updates. So Max Scherzer was a big day. Of course, we have a big day Sunday, but he's scheduled to throw 50 to 55 pitches over 3 innings in Florida on Sunday. Blue Jays still determining whether it'll be a simulated game or a low A Florida Complex League game. Blue Jays want it to be as game-like as possible. Scherzer can move quickly if things go well, folks. This is a big piece of information here. Things could go quickly if things go well. Now, obviously, tomorrow's game is going to be the big one for him. Of course, tomorrow on Sunday, you have to hope and pray that Max Scherzer gets through that game, his recovery is good, and his thumb is good. Because they kind of, not that they have to force things, but their 5th starter spot is so in the trenches right now that, assuming Spencer Turnbull doesn't work out, or even if he does, having a guy like Max Scherzer come up and be able to throw some innings for this team is going to be absolutely crucial. I mean, the Jays free agency signings, none of them have really hit, or free agency moves, none of them have really hit so far. With Santander, I mean, Jeff Hoffman's been solid. Of course, a great game yesterday. But Max Scherzer, get what you can out of Max Scherzer here and hope that he can provide you some innings because they're going to make a trade. The July 31st trade deadline's, 2 months away, basically, a bit less than 2 months away. If you want to go ahead and actually make a strong push for the playoffs, throwing out a guy like Paxton Schultz, all due respect to him, he's a great reliever, at least has been this year, hasn't been a great starter. You need to figure it out, and you need to figure it out very, very quickly because you can't throw away games. You're going up against wild card opponents right now. They're playing very good baseball. The Jays are now 5 games above 500. The Vibes are the highest they've been in a couple months, but arguably a couple of years. Besides a couple winning streaks there in 2023 and 2024. It's been, or 2022 and 2023 rather. It's been an interesting time, and hopefully it's going to be interesting here. And you can see Friday, which is our game yesterday here, the probables for the rest of the weekend. TBA, to be determined. Eric Lauer expected to feature prominently, and of course that ultimately turned to Paxton Schultz starting. I think you start Eric Lauer going forward instead of Paxton Schultz if you had to do that if Turnbull doesn't work out. But Scherzer on his way back soon. Hopefully everything progresses well, and it is we get some positive news there. But ultimately, I mean, there's a lot of updates that are coming out. And speaking of, let's talk some more about Addison Berger. Now, I didn't have a video following yesterday night's game, but Addison Berger, once again, is smoking pitches. He had a huge 2-run home run to cut the lead early in the game from 3-0 to 3-2. And that home run like that is something that the Jays were lacking for, a while until they figured out their offense. Because having one swing of the bat, Vladdy gets hit by a pitch, Addison Berger hits a bomb, that's instant, right? Instant, you're back into the game, a 1-run game. Then you string together some hits, Alejandro Kirk's being fantastic. Everybody's playing well, and you're back in the game. And Berger's a difference maker. With some batted ball luck, you could argue he would have above a 900 OPS, a 950 OPS, and a 1,000 OPS. And of course, it's not the reality, but he's playing so well that I think, again, I bring this up a lot. For this Jays team to be a playoff team, we knew before the season some things were going to have to go right. Didn't happen with Alan Rodent, didn't happen with David Schneider, but it's happened with Addison Berger, and he has been the guy who's always had some of the biggest tools in the organization. And now to see him be able to actually utilize those tools and get some luck, but also stick with the process, it has been absolutely fantastic there. And they're on an 87 win pace with almost nothing from Santander, Andres Jimenez, and up and down Hoffman, nothing from Scherzer and Amed Vladdy. If they can go on, buy at the trade deadline, go all in, and really just get some things from Santander once he's back healthy, because the Jays rushed him, and that's why he was doing so bad. Andres Jimenez, he looks great since he returned, and prior to returning, in his 20 games prior to going down, he was hitting like 300 or something like that, or his last 20 at-bats. It was one of the two. And then you have him come back now, and he's looked really, really well since his return. The team's depth is at an all-time high. Their defense is the best in baseball once again. Team Gold Glove incoming here. 21 fielding run value, the most in baseball. And vibes are absolutely high, and I'm super excited. Also, shout out to Trey Savage at high A, dominating once again. Hopefully they don't rush him into the major league team this year, but I could see a world where that somehow happens just because of how good he's been, but I don't think it's going to happen. There's a world it happens like they did with Alek Manoah and Nate Pearson. It's not going to happen with Trey Savage. I hope he is dominating, just complete, utter domination. His best start yet. He's dominant. The prospects are building up, a ton of prospects that are playing unbelievable baseball. And ladies and gentlemen, you have guys like Hendrik Panago playing really well, Trey Savage playing really well, Orelvis Martinez playing really well. Even David Schneider's not a prospect. He's up on the Blue Jays. He's playing well now. The vibes are high in the firm. The vibes are high with the team. And hopefully the Jays can take care of business today against the Twins. Thank you guys for watching. Let me know down below what your thoughts are. Cheers.